Barack Obama has been very tight-lipped about the origins of the bogus Flynn case and Crossfire Hurricane investigation, which President Donald Trump has dubbed Obamagate. However, former NSA Director Susan Rice became infamous for writing herself a memo as President Trump was being inaugurated, and now that memo has been fully declassified. It is devastating news for poor Barry. For years, Obama's people have acted like they were right and that Trump's officer Michael Flynn was the bad guy. But new evidence from Obamagate is turning the tables on their narrative. A new bombshell document has been released by acting DNI Richard Grenell. The newly declassified portion of the email once again implicates Barack Obama and Comey. Barack Obama and Comey discussed Flynn's communications with Kislyak. Rice states that Obama began the conversation by stressing this case is handled by the book. She goes on, the president stressed he is not asking about, initiating or instructing anything from a law enforcement perspective. From a national security perspective, President Obama said he wants to be sure that, as we engage with the incoming team, we are mindful to ascertain if there is any reason we cannot share information fully as it relates to Russia, Rice adds. Remember, at the time, the Obama administration was actively spying on members of the Trump team as part of its Crossfire Hurricane investigation against Trump. Comey said he does have some concerns that incoming NSA Flynn is speaking frequently with Russian Ambassador Kislyak, Rice wrote in a portion of the email that was only recently declassified. Comey said that could be an issue as it relates to sharing sensitive information. Obama asked if Comey was saying the NSC should not pass sensitive information related to Russia to Flynn. Rice continued. Comey replied potentially. Comey added that he has no indication thus far that Flynn has passed classified information to Kislyak, but he noted that the level of communication is unusual. The pull-aside meeting immediately thereafter, January 5, was Obama and Susan Rice cleaning up the mess and reassembling their plausible deniability. The January 20 Susan Rice memo to file was supportive material for that intention, tweeted the conservative Treehouse, which uses the handle The Last Refuge on Twitter. The email did not explain how it would be unusual for an incoming national security advisor to converse with foreign leaders ahead of a new president's inauguration. The truth is, it's common knowledge the new NSA director would be speaking with his new counterparts. Many observers believe the calls between Flynn and Russian Ambassador Kislyak were little more than a pretext to hide the Obama administration's spy campaign against Trump from the newly elected president's team and to justify a continued inquisition against Flynn. The newly declassified portions of the January 5 Rice email confirmed that the targeting of Flynn was coordinated within the inner sanctum of the White House and that both Obama and Biden were deeply involved in the campaign to take down Flynn, the Federalist.
And I know you brought up Susan Rice in that context, but I'm going to bring her up in another context that's equally as newsworthy, and that is the email that was declassified from Susan Rice on Inauguration Day, which is so peculiar. Set the scene, it's Inauguration Day, you're moving out of the White House, this is the most powerful building on planet Earth. Susan Rice is moving out, reflecting on her time here, and what is she doing? She's not packing her boxes, she's not being nostalgic about her time in the White House. What she's doing is writing an email where 3 times she writes that President Obama emphasized to conduct the investigation into Michael Flynn. Said, "Thou doth protest too much, Susan Rice." He didn't have the Susan Rice part in there, but I'll add that in. 2, she was asked specifically about the unmasking of Michael Flynn after she discussed it on January 5th in the Oval Office with Obama, after she wrote this email to herself on Inauguration Day. She was asked by a good journalist, Judy Woodruff, about this email and about the unmasking of Michael Flynn, not the email, but the unmasking. She was asked specifically about Nunes's claim specifically. So let me clarify, it was Nunes's claim. And she said, "I know nothing about this, so it was a lie." And then Susan Rice, since no one brought it up to me, I will bring it up to you. Her attorney said that this was the first opportunity 3 weeks after this Oval Office meeting that she had to write this email memorializing her Oval Office meeting with Barack Obama discussing Michael Flynn. It was her first opportunity, she said. Interesting, because she had an opportunity in those 3 weeks on January 10th to do a passing of the baton event with none other than Michael Flynn, where she praised him, wished him success, and talked about the great transition into the White House. And then on January 12th, she was able to participate in a story that published on that date in the lifestyle section of the Washington Post. So she never had time to write this email until Inauguration Day as she's rushing out the door, when in fact she had an opportunity to do all of those things. I'll leave that with you. Thank you for bringing up Susan Rice, not in the context that I wished, but for allowing me to share that with you.
Obama-era officials facing new scrutiny over a newly declassified email from Susan Rice. Fox News is learning the former national security advisor sent it to herself just hours before President Trump's inauguration because the White House counsel instructed her to do so. The email details how former FBI Director Jim Comey suggested that former President Obama not share sensitive information relating to Russia with incoming National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. And Rice is being criticized over a resurfaced 2017 interview where she said this.
I know nothing about this. I was surprised to see reports from Chairman Nunes on that count today. He said that whatever he was referring to was a legal, lawful surveillance, and that it was potentially incidental collection.
Juan, what do you make of that? Because I don't imagine that Susan Rice didn't remember writing that email to herself on the last day of the White House.
Right. I think the point that she was trying to make is that she knew nothing about any investigation, any criminal probe, which is what it says in the memo, Dana. But, I think that at the moment what we're up against is that people are trying to look for something here, they're trying to, I think, get us all caught up in a hall of mirrors and conspiracy theories. Even President Trump can't say what President Obama or anyone did wrong. So, it's, to me, it's like, remember the Hillary Clinton emails where we went down that hall and everybody, oh, this is terrible. And then it turns out Hillary Clinton did nothing wrong. But here, it's